Hello, this is David Baumblatt from Terabint Leadership. Today, we are going to be talking about an American citizen named Eileen Gu. Her Chinese name is Gu Eileen. Yes, I call her Gook, Eileen Gook. I find it funny and it's free speech. What's interesting is, so in case you don't know, hopefully you saw the pre-video on who she is. Again, let's do a little context. Some people may know a lot about her, some people don't, but there's a lot of nuances. It is absolutely important in terms of leadership, who we are. I don't want to skip around too much because we're going to do a little bit of a recent news, and then we're going to get into this Eileen Gu or Gook story. But and I'm looking at MAGA, and the cat's out of the bag that I believe MAGA is going to split. But anyway, you have to define who an American is. So anyway, this woman, Eileen Gu, her mother was born in Beijing, moved to America, got a white man. Remember, what is the typical thing that Asian women dream of? White man, white passport, white kids. Not every Asian woman, just 99.9% of Asian women, that's their dream. So her Asian mom, born and raised in Beijing, left China, moved to America, got that white passport. She got a white man. I don't know if this guy was a sperm donor. I don't even think they got married. But anyway, she got the white sperm anyway to make a white, or at least a half Gook kid named Eileen Gu. So Eileen Gu was obviously born and raised in America, traveled back to China. So she's like a multicultural kid, but she's got an American passport. The last Winter Olympics, whenever that was, she decided, so she's an Olympic skier. I don't follow this sport that much, but I follow leadership, and I definitely follow a lot with China. And what's interesting, what I'm about to tell you, is a lot of this stuff you think that the United States government understands. You have no clue in our government, whether it's the FBI, the CIA, the State Department, that most of these people are really morons when it comes to China or whatever, or what other topics, because the best and the brightest are not working in our government. But this relates on how it's relating to China, relates to the bigger picture of national security of America leadership. So back to the story. In the last Olympics, Eileen Gu, what did she not say? She represented China in the Chinese Olympics, and she got the gold medal. Now remember, she's an American citizen. Supposedly, China also gave her a Chinese citizenship. Dual nationality is not allowed in China. And they pressed her at a press conference. They said, "Are you a Chinese national? Because if she is, then she would have to give up her American citizenship according to the Chinese government." It's an interesting interview. This had happened again on the last Winter Olympics. She avoided the question. So something's strange there. Who knows? But then obviously she came back to America. And now for the second, or this current Winter Olympics, she also served or represented China. Now it's a big backlash. People in America are like, that's good, that's bad, that's good, that's bad. I don't even know where MAGA sits on this stuff too. Most of these MAGA people are morons, and we're going to go into it. I'm going to really lay it down for you. It's very simple to understand. And there's a hint too. This happens in Taiwan. We're going to get to it. But anyway, let's go to some recent news here, and because it all relates to this part. So first thing is we're going to go here to MAGA. I don't know who this guy is. This guy's the misfit patriot. I would assume that I'm aligned with MAGA. Everyone knows when I came out pro-MAGA, pro-Donald Trump, this and that. It's falling apart. So this guy, Congressman Massey, again, I don't know all the deals on Congressman Massey, but I think Massey wants the Epstein files out. I think it's pretty good. But, I mentioned like MAGA's going to split this and that, keeping up. Let's stop hiding the Epstein files. Again, this gets into Eileen Gu. Give it time. So as we get to this, let's go. We're talking about MAGA. This gets really bad here, where this is the Epstein files. It's really bad when foreigners starting to notice, and it is. In China, I mean, the Chinese are basically saying Donald Trump works for Israel. It's really embarrassing. But anyway, let's watch this quick video here. And again, this is actually from foreign media.
アメリカ国民に説明できるか。なぜお前は子供を人身売買に犯した数万長者を守っているのか。なぜお前を人身売の儀式を犯した億万長者を守っているのか。
Hopefully understands, but this is Pam Bondi, the stuff. I mean, it was such a joke.
了解。事実を淡々と述べるトーンでダウ平均は今5万ドルを超えています。 S&P は7000部前、ナスディックも過去最高を更新しています。それこそ話題にすべきことです。それがエプスタインのファイドと何の関係があるんですか？本気ですか？
So again, I'm saying it. The foreigners are saying basically Trump works for Israel. It's really embarrassing. And what do we have here? Well, we have Donald Trump. Let's see what he says.
And we will continue. And I've been the best friend to Israel, I think, that they've ever had. A lot of people say beyond precedents that they've ever had. And we will continue. And I've been the best friend.
Right. And basically I said, hey, care more about American military veterans, Donald Trump, and American citizens. You know, I got nothing against Israel in general, but let's put American citizens first. Let's put American military veterans first. I mean, it's getting obvious now. I mean, when you get people from overseas that are starting to see this, it's a problem. It's pretty much obvious. So then we're going to go again. This one keeps going. This all relates to Eileen Gu. And if you think these dumb government people are on it, you're crazy. So let me go to this one. Oh no, I missed it. 1 second. Let me just get this back real quick. My bad. This is pretty interesting here. Okay, here we go. Let me put this down here and make it better. Okay, so this is basically CIA. They're doing a recruitment video for China. Let me just make sure this works. Okay, it's truth be told, it's actually a pretty good video. It's actually a pretty good video. And the reason I'm mentioning this too is, if we're going to have a country, and again, I'm talking to MAGA because I'm telling you, for the same reason that Donald Trump came and he said, we have these people called rhinos, they're not helping us. And at first we didn't believe him. He's right. Well, I knew it, but for many people didn't believe, he's right. Now I'm telling you, MAGA's going to split. All these MAGA people, we have to have a sense of loyalty. Who are we? What's our country? And again, this goes to Eileen Gu. But anyway, this video is actually pretty good. I think it's retarded though, approach by the CIA. It's not going to work. And I mentioned, let me go back to I think what I said here. I think if people see my comments, I think I wrote comments on there. I said, no, we'll do the comments later. Basically, I said, let's watch the video and then I'll give my feedback on it. But it's a pretty good video.
这是我熟悉的世界，保家卫国，保护人民。然而日复一日，真相越发显而易见，领导们真正在保护的只有他们自己的私利，他们的权力建筑在无数的谎言上，但现在这些谎言壁垒逐渐坍塌，最后留下给我们的就是收拾残局。任何有领导能力的人必定遭受忌惮，被无情绞杀。我不能让这些狂人来塑造我女儿未来的世界。历史经验告诉我们，不战而胜者才是最大的赢家。但这些未经战火的人却迫不及待想让我们投身沙场。我是个战士，我的职责是保卫人民，守护祖国。
Again, I want you to listen to this. It's actually a pretty good video. It's not going to work. I'm going to explain it, but it's a good video. Understand, now again, this is coming from the US government trying to influence the Chinese to betray their countries. But use the words that we in America are using.
选择这条
Meaning protect my people, protect my daughter, this is my country. You know, very much patriotism.
道路，就是我为家为国的战斗方式。
Wow, the CIA, like they're really, yeah, my time working with the CIA, not very competent. Think about it. If our government was very competent, then why is our country falling apart? So anyway, let's use that same thing. We have to, from a sense of leadership, we have to ask ourselves, if we're going to put America first, what does that mean? American citizens, right? The people. That's what you lead people. So we have to put American citizens first. We're not. But before we do that, Leadership 101, let's define who is an American citizen. Going back to it, and oh, by the way, the CI thing is not going to work. Like, for instance, I would say a better first step is, why do we allow Chinese nationals to serve in our US military? Don't you think that might be a good place to start and saying, listen, if you're, and I'm not even just saying this to Chinese national, if you are a foreign national, you can't serve in the US military? Don't you think that would be a good step? The problem is US American men don't want to serve in the military. It's the same thing with corporations, that will we outsource. People don't want to do the hard work, this and that. We know it's all about corporations, which the United States government is. But if we're going to really take national security serious, probably not allow a foreign citizen to serve in the US military, particularly a Chinese national. Has that ever crossed anyone's mind here? That's probably where I would go, but it's not going to work. Anyway, so we have to ask ourselves, who is an American citizen? If we're going to defend America, if we're going to protect America, the same logic we tried to use with China about, the person's going to betray China because he wants to protect his people, protect his country. Who are we? I don't know. Let's take a look at this. And now we're going to start getting into Eileen Gu. I think we'll go here first. Okay, so let's take a look at this. And the reason I want to emphasize this, so hopefully we could see this, is this person named Noah Smith, he's blocked me. I don't know. I guess this guy, he's pro-Ukrainian, pro-Taiwan. We'll talk about Taiwan. And he goes, is it just me? Now, this woman named Elisa Liu, like I know about these people, she's a Chinese American, but she's an Olympic athlete, but she chose to represent America. So I guess she's the good girl and Eileen Gu's the bad girl. I don't know. They both look like chinks to me. Probably nice people, probably not, at least Eileen Gu, because I know her story. I know exactly what it is. They're a dime a dozen in terms of what they're doing. But I don't know, they both look like Chinese to me. But if we're going to protect America and we're going to put American citizens first, we have to have a very sensitive, tough debate. Who's an American? Good luck with that. But anyway, let's do this last one, and then we're going to go into it. This goes in with Eileen Gu, and we're going to finally get into the videos and the stories right here. This is Lauren Chung. Now, everyone, I don't know, you might know Lauren Chung, but supposedly she's a conservative. Look at her. This woman's got like 600 plus people on it. Yeah, how did this woman become a citizen? But notice what I wrote here. Asian women generally, they dream of having a baby with blue eyes. Again, it's not all Asian women, but it's 99.999% of Asian women. They dream of it, and if they get them, because again, they want to have white men and mixed kids. Most of these mixed kids don't come out with blue eyes, but if they do, oh my God, it's a big deal. Look at Lauren Chung. Supposedly she's got a baby, and man, she's doing exactly that. Now, how does that relate to Eileen Gu? Well, so Eileen Gu is a mixed girl, and she is extremely thankful that she has white DNA, this and that. We're gonna do some videos, but I want to preface it right now. The Eileen Gu, so, and again, there was arguments on X. Some people favor Eileen Gu. Notice when you're born in America, you're then automatically American. So it's like they're American. But then if they want to serve for China, then it's okay, but they're Chinese. And I'm saying this to white Americans. Remember, 99% of this problem comes down to white, cuck American men. 99% of the problem. Why? Because they're weak. A lot of these white men would tolerate this. After living in China for so long, I wouldn't tolerate any of this stuff. So anyway, Eileen Gu, it's an embarrassment actually to both countries. It's an embarrassment to China, and it's an embarrassment to America. It's an embarrassment to America. I would have never given her American citizenship to start with. She wants to represent China. Yeah, go ahead. I would just revoke her American citizenship and have fun in China. She doesn't want to live in China, by the way. So first of all, why is Eileen Gu doing this? I've said she's basically a prostitute, and I say that in a general sense. She's just doing it for the money. And so the Chinese government has offered her a lot of money, modeling contracts, because when you're in China, whether you're a white guy, yeah, I've done modeling in China. Trust me, I'm embarrassed about it. But if you're just a white guy or white woman in China or Asia, you don't even have to be that good looking. It's like, boom, you're automatically model. So Eileen Gu was a mixed white, anyway, like that. But she was giving a lot of monetary fees and bonuses. So Eileen Gu was doing this for the money. Now, the Chinese government has also allowed her to represent China, because how many times have people said, this is about the Olympics, this is about the sports, stop putting politics into it? No, you're absolutely wrong. This is Olympics. Olympics is politics and sports together. This is not like a professional athlete like the New York Giants, which is a private franchise, or, I don't know, some type of private sports league. This is the Olympics. Politics is part of the play. So countries also have a competition. I mean, think about it. It's a country versus country. So China wants it because they want to win. They want to win. And they don't care where you're born. If you're Chinese, you're Chinese. That's how it is. We're the only dumb people like, well, if you're born there, I guess that. No, it's not. I mean, if I was born in China, do you really think I would be recognized at all as Chinese? Of course not. I'm not Chinese. So the Chinese government doesn't really care so much where you're born. If you're Chinese, you're Chinese. So if the Chinese can use these super athletes that are Chinese to represent China, and China wins the Olympics, yeah, I mean, it's China looks at it as a competition. But it is an embarrassment to China, because at the end of the day, Eileen Gu, she doesn't like China at all. I mean, I say that in a sense, I mean, a little bit, but at the end of the day, she doesn't want to live in China. She's not interested in Chinese men, just like her Chinese mom. She wants to take all that money she made, like a prostitute, take all that money she made, and then she's going to come back to America and live the good life, and then look at you white cuck men and say, you're so bad racist, but then behind the bedroom walls, she's chasing white men, and her dream, like her mom, is to find a white man and have mixed kids. I mean, the whole thing's an embarrassment. That's what I said. And the reason is this never should have happened in the first place, meaning we need, and this goes back to the original argument with MAGA, who is an American. And if you're a MAGA and you say, well, man, it doesn't matter the color of your skin or the race, because race isn't real, well, then you're about as retarded as the liberals talking about gender. But race is real. And you got to remember, we are, just like Trump knows it, we're competing with other countries. And basically, the non-Western world embraces ethno-nationalism. So you might be a white cuck and say race isn't real, but the majority of the world, India, Saudi Arabia, Japan, China, you name it, race is real. And until we start saying that, what are we going to do? Now, I should also mention, this also happens in Taiwan. So what is Taiwan? Now, Taiwan's a little different because, like I said, I look at Eileen Gu. I can't even believe she's an American citizen star. I mean, I wouldn't even allow her to be an American citizen. She could live in America on a permanent resident or, long-term visa, and then sure, she could compete with China. I don't mind, but she's not an American citizen. Taiwan's different. In Taiwan, though, they are really Taiwanese citizens. They belong in Taiwan. That's their home. So that's the first big difference. But you'll see top Taiwanese athletes compete for China in the Olympics. Why? For the money. And how are these Taiwanese athletes, when they go back to Taiwan, looked upon as the Taiwanese people? Not very highly. That they look at them as traitors. The difference between them, those athletes, and Eileen Gu is they might be traitors, but when they return to Taiwan, they are Taiwanese. That's their home. I don't look at Eileen Gu saying, okay, guys, I'm coming back to America to come home with all my brothers and sisters. I don't consider her my sister, okay? She's a gook. And the reason I call her a gook is she looks down upon Asian people. If there were studies of these mixed Asian white people, you would be amazed. They are so happy they have white DNA that they look down upon the Asian people. They don't want to be Asian. They don't want to speak Chinese, even though people are like, Eileen Gu, she speaks so good Chinese. If I met Eileen Gu and I spoke Chinese to her, she wouldn't like it at all. She would look at it very offensively. Why? She doesn't want to be looked upon as Asian. She values her white passport, her white DNA. She's going to want to get a white man and have white kids. That's it. Why? Because they're some of the most racist people I've ever seen. Let's watch some videos and then you'll get it. But I think some of these people that I'm talking to, if you're like a white American, don't worry about it. Like if you say, hey, this confuses me, I don't get it. Trust me, the FBI and the CIA don't get it. Give it time. America will eventually collapse, and you're going to understand this. But if you think, David, I disagree with you, Eileen Gu was born and raised in America, and she's just as American as you. Have fun, because that's one of the reasons why America is going to go to a collapse, and you'll just see it. Let's start putting some of these videos.
Stars this Winter Olympics, not just on the slopes, but for sparking debate over nationality and what it means to represent China. Olivia Xiong reports.
These Chinese fans.
So I just want to emphasize again, this is the difference between the non-Western world and the Western world, which is basically saying the white world and the non-white world. In the non-white world, it doesn't matter where you're born. They look upon you as your race. The only country in the Western world that does that would be Israel. If you're a Jew, it doesn't matter where you were born. You are a Jew, and your homeland, Israel, is always welcome. The only countries in the world that can't grasp this are the white nations. Now, the white nations used to grasp it, maybe like 200 years ago, back when, absolutely. But we're talking modern times. The only nations that don't grasp this concept of ethno-nationalism are white people. And they're definitely afraid. They call it a race. So we just want to say, and to the Chinese government, it doesn't really matter where you're born or what your passport is. If you're ethnically Chinese, you are Chinese forever. Like it or not.
Were hoping to get a piece of the Winter Olympic sporting action, but with ticket sales to the public scrapped due to COVID-19 concerns, that has meant watching from the outside.
Now, I've been with this crowd for some time, and there's a real sense of excitement and a buzz.
Now, some of these videos are dated. We're trying to do both Olympics. Remember, Eileen Gu represented China in both the last Winter Olympics and this Winter Olympics. Nothing's really changed. The same thing's going on.
As in the air, even if they may be watching the competition from a distance outside the venue. And of course, there's lots of attention on Team China. After all, the country is fielding its largest ever Winter Olympics contingent with over 170 athletes.
Many in particular were hoping to catch a glimpse of arguably the most popular Chinese athlete this Winter Olympics.
Now, I'm going to tell you right now, I think I told you this story that I see this a lot, particularly of mixed Chinese white, but men. So these would be Western Chinese dudes that are mixed. So picture an American or European, his mom is Chinese, his dad's white, and he's a dude. Well, those guys, they have still trouble finding women in the West. I mean, it is what it is. I've said before, Black women and Asian men are just not looked upon desirable. I didn't make the rules, ask other people. So those mixed Asian men will come back to Asia to find a wife, and they have an absolute leg up. We're not even talking about their passport. Because they're mixed with white, the Asian women look at them as so much more attractive. The same thing with Eileen Gu. Eileen Gu is a mixed white Asian woman. When she goes back to Asia, in terms of the modeling agencies, Asian men and Asian women also look at her in a sense of like a superior looking Asian. So the reason why China was able to market her like in modeling is it's true. White is looked upon as extremely beautiful. The more white you are, but it also helps Eileen Gu because we'll save it for another video. I'll talk about it. But either way, hopefully you get the story. She is, again, I don't consider her that good looking. Sure, I'll have sex with her. But when Eileen Gu is put in comparison with white models, she's not even close in my eyes. But in Asia, compared to Asian models, she's got a leg up. So this is part of the reason why she's so popular in Asia.
因为她跳得好。
人长得漂亮啊，这个阳光，充满朝气。
Freestyle skier Eileen Goo's popularity is hard to miss in China. She's the face of at least 20 Chinese and global brands. A local research firm estimates the 18-year-old raked in $31 million in.
I mean, she's raked in so much money because, again, the good thing with Eileen Gu is she's white, but she's Asian. She's got all these things that she is a marketing powerhouse in China. And so when Eileen Gu was said, well, you need to represent China, don't represent America, she said, where's the money? Of course. Now, a lot of Americans will say, yeah, but that's horrible. Again, I wouldn't even give Eileen Gu an American citizenship, but the American corporations do the same. They don't care. They'll close down a factory in America, lay you off as an American worker, and go to China for the money. But this thought that Americans are like, how can they put money over patriotism? Are you kidding? We do that all the time in America. We are a globalist corporation in America. We don't care. Look at me. I'm an American military veteran. I've asked for help. Every single politician says ignore me. They know me. If I gave them money, if I bribed them, I guarantee they would help me. So we have to say, so before you look at Eileen Gu and say, how dare she put money over patriotism? Well, we do it all the time in America. These American corporations have no patriotism. This is the system we built, and this is the system that will fall.
Endorsements alone last year, and that's before her 2 gold medals at the Winter Games. Sales of products that she endorses have also skyrocketed. Born and raised in the US, Eileen Gu announced she was switching nationalities to represent China in 2019.
See, this is false. This is false, because if she switched nationalities, then the question is she an American citizen? I believe she still is. So how did she get it? But this whole nationality thing, this is something that's went under the table, because I say again, China does not allow dual nationality.
The country her mother hails from.
So hopefully that's her mom. Now, her mom left China because her mom says China's a shithole. And I want to go to the land of big white dicks called America. Basically what she did. And she went there and she got herself a big white dick man to make her mix kids. Is her mom an anomaly? Not so. About 99%. Is this an anomaly for China? Nah, I'd say basically all of Asia, Thailand, Vietnam, Cambodia. I mean, you name it, it's all the same. But what I'm trying to say, this Eileen Gu is basically a prostitute. And as a prostitute, she looks for the money. It's embarrassing for both countries. It's embarrassing for China, and it's embarrassing for America. What would be my solution? Revoke her citizenship, send her back to China, and say, sorry, find a nice Chinese man. I know you don't like Chinese men. I don't know. I know they got little dicks. I mean, that's your problem, Eileen Gook. It's your problem. It's not us. Learn to love China. I'm in Gook land. Gook land it's all right. It's got ups and downs. But if you're a Gook like yourself, Eileen, this is your homeland. That what I probably would say is a possible solution. Revoke her American citizenship, send her to China and say, hey, do it. But what are we going to do for future Eileen Gook's moms? Do you get my point? Hopefully you watch that video I said about the anchor babies with the Chinese. It's a big deal. We're going to have to look at something.
他们能比数比得比较精彩，我自己就很享受，无论国籍。
那是他个人的条件，但是拿了金牌不是属于中国的吗？
Gu is among some 30 foreign-born athletes representing China at the Winter Olympics, the result of an aggressive recruitment drive to make up for.
Yeah, I mean, Shane mentioned a point. I see a Shane, and I want to mention this too. It happens all the time. When hopefully everyone knows, I was stationed in Germany with the U.S. Army. The biggest foreign population in Germany are the Turks. I don't have a popular opinion of Turks in Germany. I don't have a problem at all with the country called Turkey. And in fact, I've said many times, the food in Turkey is phenomenal. And I don't have a problem with Turkish people, but I have a problem with Turkish people in Germany. And I would have never allowed Turkish people to become German citizens. But that's the German government or the German people. They're going to have to figure that out. Now, going back to Shane, I don't want to change the subject so much, but it is true. Here's a great point. If you'll ever see, it's sort of like the Olympics. We've probably heard of the World Cup, the soccer World Cup. Sometimes it's even more bigger than the Olympics, but it's politics. Your country is representing you're in this soccer match, this team is representing the country. And guess what? Because I saw this, because when I lived in Germany with the US Army, the World Cup was being held. And guess what I saw from the Turkish people? Again, it's the largest foreign population in Germany. I mean, Germany is turning into a toilet bowl with blacks and Arabs and who knows, but the Turkish people are the largest the minority there. And we're talking German citizens, these people. All of a sudden in the World Cup, Germany faced Turkey. And what do you think would be the typical Cuck, not only liberal Americans, but the MAGA people, which I think a lot of these MAGA people are Cucks now. They would say race doesn't matter. Those Turkish German citizens will back Germany. Of course they didn't. The Turkish German citizens, whatever you want to call it starts getting retarded, like African American, I don't know, Turkish German. Say, well, what is this stuff? They're not German. They should never became a German citizen to begin with. Now, if you're a Turkish national who's not a German citizen living in Germany, and the World Cup comes and you're like, hey, man, I know I'm living in Germany. I know I have a permanent residence or a visa, but I'm a Turkish citizen and I want to cheer on my team. That's a different story. So if you're in America and you're a Chinese citizen on a permanent visa or some type of visa and you're rooting for China, I get that. That's not a problem. But we all know that when these people become a citizen, they're still gonna support their home country. I see it all the time. These Chinese Americans, when push comes to shove, they're gonna support China. But again, we like to think MAGA people that the liberals are dumb. No, the MAGA people do it too. They'll sue him. I don't want to change subject, but I'll do another talk on it. But there's his name is Congressman Hunt. He's a West Point grad. He's a congressman who has a white wife. I know I'm changing the story a little bit, and he's running for Senate. He's being groomed. I'm telling you, as a fellow West Point graduate, he's not the future of America. He's not. At the end of the day, he still looks himself as an African American. There's tribe. It doesn't work, people. That's all I'm just saying. Multiracial societies do not work, never have worked. And once you go to the non-Western world and Israel, that's how it is. I don't know why white people, and this goes both on the left and the MAGA right, that are like, man, as long as race doesn't matter. I don't know why we believe, or not me, the MAGA and the liberals believe that we somehow can overcome the laws of nature and erase race and make it not real. As much as we try to erase gender, like we give boys pink dresses and give them toys, and we make girls, I don't know, wear blue outfits and give them construction equipment, and it doesn't work. At the end of the day, girls want to be girls, boys want to be boys, and this gender thing separates us. Even though we try to push them together, it still doesn't work. You could look at that same concept with race. As much as we push these races together, because we're only doing this in the white world, at the end of the day, we still realize it doesn't work, and it will never work. And China, thankfully, they opened my eyes. I didn't know that. I didn't understand growing up in America this thing called ethno-states. Even in Israel, I didn't know that. It's literally Israel and the non-Western world. They're all ethno-states. Anyway, we keep watching this, but like I said, it was the same thing about what Shane mentioned about the foreign nationals. It's true. I saw it in Germany when Turkey competed against Germany in the World Cup when I was in Germany. Oh man, the Turkish flags, and you could tell they were rooting for Turkey, even though they had German passports. And then they interviewed them too. There were news stories. They're like, excuse me, I mean, these dumb Germans. Again, if you think America are cucks and liberals, and you haven't seen anything in Western Europe, it's horrible. So these dumb German news shows, they would be interviewing these German citizen Turkish people, and they would say, hey, who do you root for? And what did they say? They said, I'm Turkish. Yes, but you're a German citizen, the dumb liberal German. You're a German. Shouldn't you be rooting for Germany? I might be a German citizen, but I'm Turkish. It's the same thing with the Chinese, same with the Arab. And I don't think you can convince this anymore to white people. I think it's just going to have to collapse. I really do. It's the same thing. If you tried to convince me this before I went to China, I don't know. I wasn't like this before I went to China. So I think sometimes you're wasting your time trying to convince white cucks. And I'm talking about MAGA people too. I think just let it go. Let whites become a minority. And, same thing like with women, convincing them with feminism. Let Islam come. Just let Islam come. Let these Islamic people start dressing these feminists up in these black robes. Meaning it's got to get worse before it gets better. And until these cuck white people experience pain, I just don't think they're going to change. I don't. But anyway, let's keep going with this Eileen Gook story.
Its shortfall in winter sports talent. More than half of China's men and women's ice hockey team, for instance, are born overseas.
其实公众的接受度比我预期的还要更高。我想这可能和过去40年中国整个社会处于一种高度开放或者是高度开放的过程是有关系的。
But the veteran sports commentator notes that public acceptance is still very much tied to performance. Gu, who has won multiple medals, stands in sharp contrast to US-born figure skater Beverly Zhu, or Zhu Yi as she's known now, after switching nationalities to represent China in 2018. The 19-year-old was flamed online after she fell multiple times on the ice and broke down after her routine.
So again, this is the Winter Olympics one. We go back and forth. Let me bring it to something up here new, but it's a repeating story. That's what I'm saying. It's just a repeating story, and I really don't have a problem with these Asian athletes or like Eileen Gu. I don't have a problem with it. I would revoke her American citizen. I'd be very polite. I'd say, listen, Eileen Gu, you're Chinese. We all know you're Chinese. So we're going to revoke your American citizenship. You've got millions of dollars. Just go back to China and have a great life. And that's what I would do. And I would just be very, very polite with her. Anyway, let's go to another one.
Section of femininity and power, of self-expression has just been just as fulfilling. And, I like to joke that I pitched my 3 favorite things in the world: skiing, education, and fashion, and somehow made it a job.
And betraying your country.
I don't know what job title this is, but I feel like the luckiest girl in the world to be.
Okay, so I think this is Steven Crowder. Steven Crowder's pretty interesting. I think Steven Crowder digs into it. Let's hear what he has to say.
Able to do all 3 at the same time.
You are.
I just like.
They buddy up with China, for example, places like Canada, right? Why? Well, why? Because of commerce. They just need a trading partner. And now you have someone, as a perfect example, and you tell me if you think that this person qualifies for treason. I think it's close.
Yeah, one thing though, I disagree with Crowder. I don't know, he might take it, but we get big into this Eileen Gu. We don't talk about American corporations though. I mean, again, I work for the Boeing Corporation. That's the American military industrial complex. Their biggest market overseas was China. No one said that. So when an individual like Eileen Gu wants to work with the China, then it's a big deal. What about all these American corporations who shut down factories? That's what we did. Part of my job in Boeing was we were shutting down factories in America and we were building factories in China. Well, those jobs in China, meaning the factory in China was like 90% plus, it was going to go to Chinese people. But we don't want to talk about the corporations. Why? Because probably Steven Crowder at the end of the day probably buys cheap made in China products. Why? Because it's all about the money. So I'm not saying he's wrong with Gook Eileen, but what about these corporations though? Where's the push on American corporations?
If not there, this American-born skier, Eileen Gu, made $23 million through being a traitor.
Chump change. Yeah.
A traitor. Comes from Chinese companies like the bank.
And also I need to say that when we talk about China, traitor, we get very sensitive when we talk about Israel. Like if I probably said what country has the most undue influence on America, I think Israel is absolutely number one. You have no clue. It's not even close to China. So I agree, foreign countries should not have undue influence on America. But we seem to attack China very normally. But again, we buy cheap Chinese products. We allow the Chinese come to our university. I mean, it's all about the money. But when it comes to Israel, you don't hear people talking about that. Why? It's an interesting question. Why do we allow it? But anyway, keep going. So it's like a lot of these commentators. I see eye to eye with them in some things, and some things I just find it still very odd.
Of China, TCL, Anta, Luckin Coffee, Cadillac China, Megnu Dairy. I don't even know what that is, but I don't like it.
Sounds like fake dairy.
Yeah, I would, trust me, I've drank it. I would not, don't trust the dairy in China. It's called Mungu Dairy. It's located in Inner Mongolia, but it is what it is.
Definitely is.
And here's the thing, this idea, right? When people say global, it always sounded good. Remember when we were kids, at almost every school, you had the We Are the World and the different flags. And we were all told that was a good thing. Just like in Canada, I was taught guns are bad. Globalism, good. What does that mean? Globalism, good. That means sovereignty is bad.
Well, hopefully, I haven't seen this whole clip. Let's talk about, well, what did I say the war is going to be on? The war is going to be on this concept of globalism versus nationalism. And what are we? Like, what should MAGA be? MAGA should be nationalists. So again, the war is not from China. China's nationalism, without a doubt. Meaning the only countries in the world that support globalism are the white countries. So the point being, I keep saying it, the biggest threat that we have is domestic. It's not foreign. If you're a nationalist, there's a lot you can learn from these other nationalist countries, which is also what I learned, that if you're of a non-white ethnicity, generally speaking, this is not your home, meaning the Western countries. You shouldn't become and get a citizenship. But hopefully Crowder says that. But this thing about liberal, I've said, the far left and the far right, we probably have a lot in common. But it's this thing called globalism. That's where the elites are. That's who's hiding the Epstein files. Mr. Trump, probably get on these Epstein files.
That means borders are bad. That means refusing to link arms with someone who does not share your values is bad. That's more evil than the divergence on the values themselves. You know, like, hey, if you don't hold hands with China, that's evil. Don't you think we're all people? Okay, so you think it's more evil for me to refuse to link arms with China than the fact that they are en masse drowning their daughters in bathtubs?
Yeah, plus I don't want to link arms with someone who smells like cigarettes.
Yeah, I don't know what he's talking about with China. My theory is let the Chinese do what they got to do, and I wouldn't let them sit. My biggest thing with Eileen Gu is, why did we give her citizenship? We just can't allow this, meaning legal immigration needs to be totally reformed in America. I'm not talking about illegal immigration. I'm talking about legal immigration. Eileen Gu's mom should have never become an American citizen. And if she wants to have a mixed child, well, that child could be Chinese citizen as far as I'm concerned. I still wouldn't give the child American citizen. So, but this attacking China, again, you got to remember, these guys on day one will attack China, and day two, they're going to go buy cheap Chinese-made products. And the more they attack China and the more they buy cheap made in China products, what does it say about their morals? We really don't care about America. It's all about the money.
Exactly right. Exactly right. It's fine when you're at a casino. It's fine when you're placing bets. You want to be surrounded by a bunch of Chinese or Vietnamese chain smokers. It adds to the ambiance.
I like to play mahjong.
Yep. I don't even know what mahjong is.
Me neither, but it's fun.
I understand that old Asians play it.
They tell me I lose every time. It's weird.
Eileen Gu defines globalism, and by the way, globalism that depends on the success of American capitalism, to fleece Americans. She personifies it perfectly.
The high-flying women's competition featured American-born Eileen Gu, who competes for her.
She looks Polish and Irish. Who the hell is she?
It is kind of weird, though, when you see these news shows. They think it's so great. It's retarded. But again, it's an embarrassment for America. It's also an embarrassment for China. Don't fool yourself. A lot of the Chinese are pissed off at this. And I talk to my Chinese friend, you can't, the problem is Eileen Gu is extremely beautiful in China, this mixed thing. She's just a marketing giant. But anyway, I joke to my Chinese friends, I'm like, you can't pick a better Chinese woman whose mom didn't get a white man. Like, it's just it's embarrassing for both sides. And again, the leadership solution is I would just politely revoke Eileen Gu's citizenship, American citizenship, and I'd wish her the best of luck in China. This is not being negative, but I'd say that this system is going to fall, people. Give it time. You're going to see it.
She's fooling
China.
She claims silver, the fourth Olympic medal of her
she
career.
skied for
Graced
China.
the cover of Vogue, Time.
Hottest Chinese athlete of all time.
Model. You now have
Who looks
dozens
nothing
of
like a
endorsement
Chinese
deals
athlete
as
doesn't ask
well.
questions.
And for folks also, you know the fact you almost had a perfect score on the SAT as well. So
You do.
yeah,
American schooling?
How has your life
American born,
changed
American
over
trained?
the last 4 years, Eileen?
I don't know. This is the biggest horseshit story. It's weird. As I sit here, I don't know who to go with because you see these liberal news shows and these people are wacky. But even if you look at MAGA people like Crowder, if you push him, he's not going to, again, ask him about Israel or what's the solution. And what am I saying the solution is? Ethno-nationalism. Crowder will be like, whoa, wait a minute. That's a little too racist for us. Then what's the solution? Crowder, what's the solution?
Yeah, I mean, for one, I started college, so that has been so much fun going to Stanford. I also did.
Oh, that's in America too, right?
Oxford.
Yeah, so she went to college in the West because she does not want to go to Gook universities in Gook land. Again, there's nothing wrong with that. It's her freedom. But when you think I'm lying about Asian women, their desire for white passports, white men, and white kids, it is. It's about 99%.
So I fully lived on campus at Oxford, and that was just such a special experience. Additionally, I've worked in fashion since I was 14, so continuing to do that and explore the intersection of femininity and power, of self-expression, has just been just as fulfilling. And, you know, I like to joke that I picked my 3 favorite things in the world: skiing, education, and fashion.
Oh, she loves to. I see this all the time. These Asian gooks, they love to dye their hair. It's the weirdest thing. They'll dye their hair blonde. They'll wear fake blue contact lenses because they want to have blue eyes. It's really bad. I mean, the saying is called Chongyang Mei Wai, and it's as evident as can be. So she's the typical gook, but she's in a good position to be a prostitute and make a lot of money. And the two suckers is actually America. But Steve Crowder, he just doesn't get it. I think Steve Crowder's a little too stupid because a lot of people don't get Asia. It's also embarrassment for China because, like I said, it's not the same thing. But when the Taiwanese athletes compete for China for the money, not compete yet, for represent China for the Olympics for the money, they go back to Taiwan and they're looked down upon. But the difference is they're Taiwan and they belong in Taiwan. That's their homeland. Eileen Gu is not in America as far as I'm concerned. I mean, we have to start asking ourselves who formed and who fought and who defended America, our forefathers. Let's think of George Washington. Would George Washington allow her to become an American citizen? I don't think he would. I don't think he would. I don't think our founding fathers, if you're a proud American, they would want America to become a non-white country. So the solution for me is just simple. She just should not be an American citizen. And that's it. But I'd wish her the best of luck in China and have fun.
Somehow made it a job.
And betraying your country.
I don't know what job title this is, but I feel like the luckiest girl in the world to be able to do all 3 at the same time.
You are.
I just like to say I'm a college student who happens to be really athletic.
You're a traitor.
No, Crowder, they're getting pissed off because they've been burned. America's been burned. And it started with the corporations.
Period.
You're a traitor. Let's be clear. Born in the States, benefited from the States, and then you decide to be a token for a communist regime.
Yeah.
Oh, now it's all about communism. Yes. Yeah, Crowder. I thought if communism was so bad, then why is it working? It's not communism anymore. It's fascism in China.
And she won silver. Second place counts too.
She got gold last time around.
And
silver's good.
She posted this. She said, sometimes it feels like I'm carrying the weight of 2 countries on my shoulders.
You're not.
Just being able to ski through all of that, I don't. To still show my best and still be so deeply in love with the sport. How about your country? That's really what I care about, and I'm so happy to represent that today.
I don't know. What if I've reached out to Steven Crowder? Now, I do give credit. Some people don't know who I am. I reached out to him. I said, Steven Crowder, and I think Steven Crowder, I think he said he's from Canada, but he's living, I think, in America now. He might be an American citizen. I said, I'm an American military veteran, and I have government corruption to report. I'm not welcome back in America. Can you help me, Steven Crowder? Because you want to thank military veterans for their service. Can you help me? Can you help me tell my story as a whistleblower in government? He's never responded to me. Now, it's possible he doesn't know about my story, and if that's the case, it's different. What if he does know about my story, like shitbag Danny Bongino does, and like many other people do? Who's a traitor now, you shitbag Steven Crowder? I just don't look. That's what I'm saying. I look at China. When I wrote the book, Patriots Betrayed, China never betrayed us. Russia never betrayed us. Even Israel never betrayed us. You get betrayed by your own people. Who betrayed us? Our own government betrayed us. Our own American people betrayed us. I look at white people a lot of times as the biggest betrayer. But when they're not part of your family, they can't betray you. Like whatever China wants to do in relative nature, whatever Russia wants to do, like it's like saying Iran betrayed us. Iran? What the fuck is Iran? It's let their country do it. You are betrayed from the inside, from the people you trusted. If you trusted China or Russia, you're a moron. But who should you technically trust? Your government, your politicians, your American corporations, your American brothers and sisters, your own military. Yeah, you should be able to trust them. Those are the people that betrayed us. China never betrayed us. China never swore an oath to us, and we should never swear an oath to them.
You represent vapid narcissism and loyalty to nothing.
Yeah. Oh, one thing, actually. I'm sorry. I have to correct you there. Money.
Money.
She would have gotten a lot of money. I made this point earlier. A lot of money to be an American skier and go and compete.
Yeah, I mean, I look at Eileen Gook as a prostitute. It is what it is, but what is a prostitute looking for? Money. And a prostitute will do anything. They will fuck anyone. They'll just do whatever they got to do. They are dirty, low-life whores. That's what Eileen Gook is. She's a low-life whore. She's very gifted because she has white DNA. Trust me, she's one of the most racist people around. She knows it. She's like, thank God I have superior white DNA and I'm not a 100% Gook. She's like, thank God I have a white father. She's racist. But at the end of the day, she's a prostitute. And she used in many ways just both America and China. It's embarrassing to both. You're not getting the story. There are a lot of people in China that are outraged that this mixed Gook, who after the Olympics, she's like, bye, I'm going back to America. You don't realize how many pissed off Chinese are. It's embarrassing. It's embarrassing to China. It's embarrassing to America. But we're stuck with her though. Like the prostitute, it's like the prostitute goes around and screws all the guys. And at the end of the day, she comes back to us, the Cuck. You know, it's like the white woman who screws all these black guys and has these mixed kids. At the end of the day, she comes back to the white guy, says, okay, I want you to take care of me. So what did Ellen? Now she comes back to America, and then she'll complain about the racism she gets in America. She'll complain. She'll be like, America is such a bad place. She doesn't want to move to China. Why? Because she's a racist Gook.
Pete, she would have done fantastic, right? But because she has access to the Chinese market now, all the luxury brands in Europe, which nobody's dumb enough really to buy.
Yeah, so Shane brought up the point. Yeah, I don't believe Israel betrayed America in a sense. I get it. NATO nations were allies. I get the point. But when I think of the USS Liberty incident, I don't put the blame per se mostly on Israel. I put it on the American government. I mean, if you're an American sailor, who should you have or who should you expect to be loyal to you? The admirals in the U.S. Navy or the admirals or the generals in the Israeli military? It's the American military. Our admirals also betrayed them. There was cover up. So yeah, the USS Liberty, I wouldn't necessarily put the blame on Israel. Israel's going to do what they're going to do. I like them many times. You want to know why? Because I'm telling you, in Israel, it is Israel first. They put the Jews first. I'll do some more stories on it. I can't blame them. China's the same way. So Donald Trump got elected and we thought, this is perfect. We're now going to get a guy who puts America first. Is he? Not necessarily, people. I mean, I go back, we'll get back to this Eileen Gook story, but look at the Epstein files. What are we fighting for? What's America? I don't know. Christianity? European? Freedom? You don't think those Epstein files has a lot of stuff of attacks on Christianity have a tax on our European girls. Hey, look at the Epstein files. Who do you think most of the girls are in there? Probably beautiful white girls. That's my guess. I don't think you're going to find many black girls in there. I don't think you're going to find many Asian girls. I think the number one set of women in there are probably white women. So America first, protecting European ethnicity, our European people. What about freedoms? Freedom of information. I don't know. I would think the Epstein files, that's a pretty forward march for MAGA. Don't see that much. But I go back to the US, and that's what I'm saying. We look at China. China is, I'm living proof, but I'm not angry with China. As a foreigner in China, I am a second-class citizen. I'm not even a citizen. I'm second class. I'm not angry at the Chinese government because the Chinese government's clear. This country's for the Chinese. You're not Chinese. I'm pissed off that why are all these other countries putting their people first, but our countries aren't? My book, when I wrote the book Patriots Betrayed, why would I be angry with Israel? Why would I be angry with China? Why would I be angry with Russia? They're going to put their country and their peoples first. I am angry with our government. And yeah, I'm angry with white people. I've said many times, I think the first people that would be in my face that want me destroyed, probably white men and white women. Also from the MAGA side, this whole thing about don't be a racist. I feel betrayed, and I think you do too, from our own people, our own government. That's the whole sense of the word betrayal. You aren't betrayed from outsiders. You are betrayed from insiders. So this thing with Eileen Gu, I just would be very politely, and I would make it very polite. I would just revoke her citizenship, send her to China, but be very polite about it and say, listen, we want you to have the best of life and go forth and conquer. But America belongs to Christians. America belongs to Europeans. And America belongs to people who could say Gook, meaning freedom of speech. We honor freedom of speech. And I get it. Some of this stuff I think could be unprofessional that I'm saying. I agree. And I could maybe, I don't want to say apologies, but you get what I'm saying. But when we look at betrayal, we have to say you're only betrayed from the inside, not the outside.
En masse anymore, except mostly the Chinese market. She gets those the contracts now. She can get them into China.
Well, I don't know if that's how she explained it, but she did announce her decision to ski for China prior to the 2022 Olympics in Beijing. Here she is, extolling the virtues of globalism.
I was 15 years old at that time, and I had this tremendous support from the U.S. ski team from a moral level, from an emotional level, in the sense that when I told them that I wanted to compete for China in the upcoming Olympics, that it was to inspire young girls, it was to spread the sport, and it was to create a shared future of globalism. They were 100% behind.
Well, now watch. I mean, then Steven Crowder says globalism is bad. I'm for it. So, Crowder, are you for nationalism? Hell yeah. Okay, then let's go for ethno-nationalism. No, that's racist. Then I don't know. I don't know what your version of nationalism is. We could have a polite debate about it. So let's go nationalism, Steven Crowder.
Behind me.
Then fire them too.
What's the future for Chinese girls?
Yeah.
I don't know, but it sounds like the American team didn't want her on the team. Yeah. They were really supportive. They said, yeah, go do that right now. Yes. Go do it right now.
That's right.
Please. Oh my God, get out of here.
Let me guess, a women's sports team. So that may be a problem.
You have to be a citizen of a...
They didn't have any sense of duty or honor. Men wouldn't respect that person. That would have been a man not worthy of respect. With women, power in and of itself is what is worthy of respect. Why? Because they justify it, saying, well, because women don't really have power. So the fact that I got power must mean that I'm doing something right. Okay, why don't we apply that standard to men? Believe in a future of greater openness and freedom for the people of China. You ought to be for this agreement. If you believe in a future of this is where when people talk about populism, they don't mean this is popular, because populism could also, it could just be
let me go to the next video here. I think we've heard enough about him.
Scrutiny. Eileen Gu. At the Milan Winter Olympics, the US-born freestyle skier is once again competing for China, having already won a silver medal in women's slopestyle. In American media, Gu has explained her decision simply. The US team already had strong representation. On platforms like Reddit, some users have mocked the explanation as opportunistic.
It's horseshit. I mean, this is what it is. I mean, she wanted to compete for China because the Chinese government wanted to win. She was making it is what it is, but we don't want to be lied to. So it's a bullshit story she's coming up with.
In China, state media continues to frame Gu as a symbol of national pride. Yet some netizens remain skeptical, pointing to her commercial success and US connections. In 2024, she ranked second globally among female athletes in total earnings, driven largely by endorsements. 3 years ago, things were very different. At the 2022 Beijing Winter Olympics, Gu competed for China in 3 events and won 2 golds and 1 silver in the audience size, but also in the symbolic validation, a signal that the industry aligns with national pride. Felton, taken when he was 12 years old. Within 72 hours, the question received more than 1,200 responses. Among highly
after winning gold for China last week. But it's her origin story that has been overshadowing her stellar performances and making headlines. Born in California and raised in the U.S. by her single mother of Chinese heritage, Gu competed in the U.S.
Yeah, so single mother. So the point is how did she become pregnant? I think she was just looking for a man, a sperm donor, a one-night stand. But I believe the white man didn't even marry her. That's another fallacy too. That there's a lot of dumb white women. So the same thing when I think of betrayed. One of the biggest betrayals I'm thinking is white women have betrayed white men. I'll do more videos, but I'm telling you, when white women, you don't realize how bad this society is going to get. And you don't realize how good you have it with white men. We're the best. Don't believe me? Fine, go to these other countries, have fun. But anyway, there are sometimes you hear from white women, they're like, these Asian girls or whatever, they only like you because of your money. They only like you because you have a passport and you're going to, not really. No, not really. I need that. If you are a white man in Asia, you can easily get Asian girls. You're not going to spend one dime on them. You're not going to have to marry them like passport. It's just these Asian girls are goo and gaga for white men. It's ridiculous. Has nothing to do. Now, obviously, sure, if you say, hey, well, marry me and I'll bring you to America. I'm a rich white man. We get it. That all. But if you're just a white dude and you're like, man, I'm just an English teacher and I don't make much money. And I don't even want to get married. So I'm going to stay in China for the rest of my life. Oh, you're fine. You're going to get, I mean, these women go crazy. So back to the story with Eileen Gu, her mom probably wanted to get a white man to get married and everything like that. But at the end of the day, just to be with a white man and have mixed white kids, that's a major success for them.
Team as a child, but switched to perform for China in 2019. The professional skier with a thriving modeling career is fluent in both English and Mandarin. She is set to attend Stanford University next year after bagging an SAT score of 1580. The 2-time Youth Olympic Games freestyle ski champion is now also the youngest freestyle skiing medalist at the Winter Olympic Games. The Chinese American has refused to choose.
Yeah, I mean, Shane said, how many times have I ever taken an Asian woman out to dinner? 0. How many times when we do go to dinner, does the Asian woman pay? 100%. 100%. I mean, I'll just give other examples, but I'm just saying it. And I don't say this. I believe, because again, I'm definitely liberal or loose if you want to have and I do believe you should have relationships. That's how we learn. I'm big into foreign languages. You should learn. If you have sex with them, I'm liberal, but I definitely cut it with mixed kids. But what I'm also trying to do is I'm not advocating this. I still think that the best relationship is a white man with a white woman. But I'm telling you, to the white women, you are the most spoiled women on the planet. If you think I'm wrong, then I want you to tell me what country, non-white, where the women have a higher status than you. None. I can tell you in China. So think about that right there. When you argue with white men, you have arguments, because I'm telling you, I adore or I appreciate the white woman's DNA. But the white woman's culture, thanks to feminism, it's absolutely dog shit, the worst. And I go back to white women, I say this. You have to remember when you're arguing with white men, when you're debating with white men, when you're communicating with white men, everything, you need to know that you are the most spoiled women on this planet. It's pretty embarrassing. It's pretty pathetic. If you think I'm wrong, who? Do you think African women get treated better than you? Do you think Chinese women get better treated than you? Do you think Indian women get treated better than you? Who? Even white women in Eastern Europe, not very good. So it's only Western Europe. So I just want you to know, I mean, that is an embarrassing, nobody wants to deal with spoiled kids. We look, whether it's a spoiled boy or a spoiled girl, we always wish that the parents could just smack them a little bit. Nobody wants to be around spoiled kids. And spoiled kids grow up to be very unproductive and unethical adults. So looking to the white women, I want you to know that because you don't realize that, but you will. As this world starts changing, you're going, and the truth is going to come out, you're going to realize that on this planet, the most spoiled women in the world are white Western women. You also received an embarrassing nickname called Karen. We've heard of that name, Karen. It's an embarrassing nickname. If I was a white woman, I'd be very embarrassed. Why are these people calling me Karen? There is it. And as a white man, I want to defend you, but I also talk about that thing called betrayal. I don't feel like I've ever been betrayed by Asian women, by Black women, by Indian women. Why? I don't feel like they're in my ethnic group. In fact, I got to admit, Jewish women have treated me much better than white women. Jewish women treat me fucking really nice. But I can tell you, white women, you are the most spoiled group of women in the world. I just want you to realize that first. I mean, this should be another video. I should do another video on that. So when you interact with white men, you don't understand white men, you complain about white men, you argue. I want you to realize that once you travel around the world, you are the most spoiled group of women. That's not good. It's embarrassing and shouldn't be. So back to what I was saying about Asian women, where like Asian women just like white men because you have money and you're going to give them a passport to the West. No, you're wrong. It helps, but you're absolutely wrong. I'm not marrying any of these Asian women. I'm not spending any money on these Asian women. And I'm telling you something, these Asian women, absolutely. This is why this Gook named Eileen Gook, because she has white features. Oh my God, modeling contracts in Asia. Why? Because these people adore white DNA. It's not my fault. Talk to them. That's what they want to do. But anyway, I don't want to change the subject, but it's a pretty pathetic scenario with white women. I appreciate your white DNA, but your culture, due to feminism of the West, have made you the most spoiled women on the planet. Maybe you should look at yourself in the mirror when you can't get a man to marry you, this and that. Maybe you should start realizing that maybe some of the blame is on you.
One country or the other. When I'm in China, I'm Chinese. When I'm in the US, I'm American. Some people feel Gu needs to choose one side. Others feel she has betrayed the United States by competing for China. Commentators also suggested that she switched allegiances to secure more lucrative endorsements. The 18-year-old's reply, cry about it. Meanwhile, Chinese citizens have backed their snow princess against the negative.
Hold on. When they back them, it's a very, remember what you get in the news in China, it's all scripted, you know, no one's going to, but there are a lot of local Chinese. They don't view Eileen Gook as a good role model for China. And I agree. I would probably get a Chinese woman who's pure Chinese ethnicity, who has a Chinese man, not a white man. So you understand my logic. It's common sense. The nationalists in China actually also don't prefer that this role model is Eileen Gu, because there's a lot of, you could say, whatever great role models in China that are Chinese women. And I agree with them. I think Eileen Gu is a gook and she's a prostitute, and it just is what it's embarrassing.
coverage from sections of the U.S. media. Although political tensions between the U.S. and China play a role in people's reactions, other U.S.-born athletes competing for China have not been treated the same way as Gu. After falling several times during her Olympic team events.
All right, that's about it. So let's sum this up here, and that is, and the reason I say this is a lot of the MAGA people think they're like, oh man, these liberals, they're out to lunch. But really, if you had this same topic with a bunch of MAGA people, there would be debate. No, Eileen Gu was, or they would think that Eileen Gu is a traitor. She shouldn't have represented China because she's an American. And I'm like, what makes her an American? They're like, born and raised, man. Born and raised. Okay. And if you're born and raised in Israel, if you're born and raised in India, if you're born and raised in China, that's it? Not really. Not really. So I get it. If someone is born and raised in America, they're definitely going to share a lot of cultural things with us. And I get that. I don't know. Give her a permanent resident, I would say. Like if you're a non-European, I'd be more flexible with permanent residency, which then it's fine to represent other countries because you're not a citizen of America. But I think a MAGA people would say, hell no, man. If you're born and raised in this country, it don't matter the color of your skin. This is what this West Point grad is running from. This senator who's running for Senate in Texas. He knows about me. He's ignored me. This guy West, who also has a white woman. I should do it on him. But that's the MAGA. That's the official MAGA stance. And that is, as long as you're a proud American, you pay your taxes, you support the military, born and raised, it doesn't matter the color of your skin or your race. I'm telling that's retarded. And you're going to see it ain't gonna work. And I think when white Americans become a racial minority, I think maybe then people are gonna wake up. So I go back to the Eileen Gook story here. Is I don't really have a problem with her. She's just basically making you Americans look like a bunch of fucking yo-yos. She's also embarrassing China, but it's just an embarrassment. She's the one who's winning. She's a prostitute. Remember, what does a prostitute think about? Money. And so, like I said, I think the only way, and if Donald Trump did it, it would be cool, is you just politely, you don't do it vengefully, but you politely just revoke her citizenship and say, listen, I think you're Chinese. That's what I'd also tell Eileen Gook. You are Chinese. You're ethnic. No, I'm not. I'm white. I'm white. They love to be white. No, you're not. You're a mixed Gook, and you're Gooky enough. You're a Gook. You're Chinese, and you should be proud that you're Chinese and stop being a racist. Or she could stay in America if you really want to be liberal, but then she stays on a visa. So she'll have a Chinese citizenship and she'll be here on a visa. That would be probably a good solution. Will it happen? Probably not. But like I said, everything that I'm telling you, it's not really going to happen. Notice I say a lot about guns and ammo until the system gets worse. Sort of like the same thing. MAGA people love this guy, Vivek Ramaswamy, right, man? Look, Vivek, he's all about, capitalism and this and that, and he's an American. No, Vivek is an Indian man. I'm sorry to break it to you. He's probably a good guy. I don't know him enough to on his personality, but he's definitely not European. And born in America, that's just dandy. That doesn't mean you get a citizenship. So hopefully we'll start learning this. But until America starts, and I'm looking at white Americans, until they start understanding this concept of ethno-nationalism, the white population is going to drop. And I believe it's going to continue to drop until the future generations of American white people who are born and raised as a racial minority, they might change. And that's what I think. But before then, by then, it's probably going to be too late, and it's probably going to be guns and ammo to solve this. But anyway, hopefully that's a good thing in terms of adding value to you, to understanding a little bit more of these nuances. But at the end of the day, it's embarrassing to China. It's embarrassing to America. This same thing does happen in Taiwan. And when the Taiwanese athletes do it, they're looked down upon traitors. But at the end of the day, they do come back to Taiwan. They are Taiwanese citizens. I just don't look at Eileen Gook as an American. And if you think she is an American, then who's not? Everybody in this world, I guess everyone in this world is an American citizen or can become an American citizen. Doesn't that sound like communism to you? Not very good. David Baumblatt from Terrabin to Leadership telling the Patriots, and to Mr. Crowder, if you ever get this message, I've written to you many times. Stephen Crowder, you like to tell people your people are traitors. I'm an American veteran. I was born and raised in America. I know you come from Canada, and I know you're making a lot of money. I believe you're living in America. If you say you're a patriot, then I appreciate your help. You don't have to have me as a guest. Just tell my story to the American government. Say, why am I being ignored by the politicians and censor on media? Why do we have an American military veteran who is not welcome back in America? You know, if you want to call people traitors and you want to act like you're a patriot, that would be a pretty patriotic thing to do, to help out an American military veteran, considering that you never served in the military. But until then, it's easy to call everyone a traitor. And then at the end of the day, let's go and buy those cheap Chinese goods so then we can make Xi Jinping more powerful. David Baumblatt from Terabint Leadership, lead to victory.